Welcome to All About the Experiences. Today marks my 33rd episode, and I'm still on a high after the first anniversary. And I have to tell you, I can still not believe that so much has happened in a year. Good, bad, and indifferent. It has been quite the experiential journey. And I just want to send a big thank you to all of you that show up whenever I post a new episode, whether you're looking at it on FaceTime, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and even on the website, www.allabouttheexperiences.com, and just reaching out to me, whether it be DMs, emails, and just really giving me positive encouragement, ideas, and beyond that, just being a real support. And I think we all can agree that over the last, wait, if you can believe this now, we're literally heading into almost 2 years, if you can believe that. I mean, we've definitely passed the year and a half threshold of the whole pandemic. But with that being said, one of the things that I recognized and wanted to use this platform for was to give an opportunity to show positivity even in the midst of everything that we were all enduring. And that's one thing that I can say about the pandemic is like, all albeit our experiences may be different, they were all very similar. And the fact that we were going through it together, and a lot of lives were lost, and a lot of families have borne the brunt of losing loved ones and not knowing, what's going to happen in the way of their financial security or, quite frankly, their health. And I've had a few health scares myself, even BC before COVID. And now, every little cough or every every little tickle in your throat or whatever it is, it makes you second guess, what it is. A cough is no longer just a cough, or a sneeze is no longer just a sneeze. And I say that to say is that we just have to be mindful and check in not only with each other, but obviously with ourselves. This has been a difficult time period. It has been extremely difficult. And I think if we don't acknowledge that, things are difficult in nature and sweep it under the rug, it manifests into something even greater. And I think we've seen this. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, more often than not, I like to bring a lot of positivity, because let's face it, this world is full of enough things that are not positive. So it's really important for me to bring about positivity, but also we can't negate the fact that there are things that are going on in the world. And so I'll double back and go back into just acknowledging how you feel about something, and acknowledging if you feel like you've hit a wall and you are not managing a situation or a multiple situations in your life very well. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a time out. And like, Lord knows my family, they have to remind me of that. And I'm here to pass along that same message, but it's true. If we don't take care of ourselves, and not just our bodies, but our mental health, that's a recipe for disaster. And, there's been a lot of buzz in the news, especially this week since the Olympics is going on, about one of our very own gymnasts deciding that, what, she needs to take a break. And we have to honor that. I mean, we know that, especially athletes that are on that level, they have a high tolerance for putting up with a lot and pushing through, especially not even when you don't want to anymore. But, you have to acknowledge when someone says, I need to do this for me. And we can't be hard on someone. You don't know what someone's threshold for dealing with, life is. And you don't want to push them over because you think that they can do better, or you want to see them achieve or reach some goal that we have set as a society, or as a country, to say we want to be ahead. We're a land of winners, but we also have to recognize that sometimes winning means is that you take a break and you tap out. And I feel like this pandemic was the nation's way of taking a break and tapping out. And it allowed us to look at many social and racial and economic, things that are going on in our country that have been kind of being swept under the rug. And so I say that to say that sometimes God, I'll say, or your higher power has a way of slowing us down and saying, hey, we need to address and look at these things. We need to start a conversation, and we need to have a call to action. And so with that being said, as you can hear, I just had a call to action. But it feels good to use this platform to spawn conversations and to be able to bring light to things that are going on in our world that sometimes we just don't want to address. And I would be remiss of having such an awesome, not only an audience, but a platform to even be able to speak this and speak how I feel. And speaking of which, I like to talk about all of the experiences, and sometimes all of the experiences are not positive in nature. They're not always happy. I mean, we've covered the gamut here on this podcast, whether it was about dealing with grief, or dealing with racial and social injustices, or dealing with health, or the pandemic, or whatever it is. We have really talked about a multitude of different things, but of course at the end there's always going to be a positive spin because I'm involved and I love positivity. But I do want to make mention of something that happened, and typically I don't go there about, well, I do with my family and friends, but on this platform I necessarily haven't like called out people. I have called out behaviors, but I just have a little gripe. So everyone who knows me knows that I enjoy a good meal. And sometimes when you have your heart set on something, you are making a beeline to wherever it is. And for me, a couple of days ago, it was oxtails. And I just had a hankering. I was just like, I want oxtails. I want oxtails and rice and maybe some candy yams. So if you get my drift, I was looking for just some good down home cooking. And of course I could do that, but sometimes you like to have food served to you, or you pick it up and bring it home and enjoy it in the comfort of your home. Well, I went to a restaurant that is very well known here in the San Diego area for having just amazing cuisine, especially of the southern nature, but most specifically their oxtails. And get out the car, my mouth is ready, I already know what I'm going to order. And I make it to the door, and I open the door, and as soon as I walk in, I get hit with some of the most deplorable customer service I've ever received in my whole entire life. And I'm sure I've received worse, but for the purpose of this story, it was the worst. And so as soon as I walk through the door, I get hit with, just so you know, we do not have any chicken wings, or I forget what else she rattled off. Not that I came for that, but okay. And I was a little taken back by that, because I'm just like, you didn't even know what I was coming in here for. I came a great distance to, purchase the food that I intended on purchasing. But then I was hit with this sourness and a just so you know. So before I could say anything, I went ahead and I gathered my thoughts in that split second, and I pivoted as we did, or we do in the Navy, and I walk back out. Because I feel like if that's what you're hitting me with, I didn't want any parts of that. I had my mind, my mouth, and my stomach set on some great oxtails, which I have frequented to this restaurant in the past. And it was a little disappointing. And there were other people who were like in the to go area of the restaurant, and also just adjacent in the dining room. And they saw that and they were like, wow. And I guess, I don't know what happened inside of the restaurant, but the young lady walks out and she goes like, I was just wanting you to know, because I didn't want you, I wanted to set expectations. And I said, well, I will say you most definitely set my expectation that I would not be getting great service, because just so you know, I didn't come in for your wings. I came in for the oxtails. But just so you know, I'm going to take my business, my credit card, and my appetite down the street, just so you know, I'm going to try out someone else's oxtails. And the young lady had a lot of attitude behind it. And, I refrained. I keep the sister girl in my pocket as well. But, just so you know, I was just going to go ahead and leave without incident and go have great food somewhere else. And the young lady kept trying to get me to stay. And so I did stay for a moment. And I wanted to make sure that she knew that, when you come into an establishment, whether it's a restaurant, it's a clothing, store, whatever it is, and you're the first person that I see, and you come off with kind of a crass attitude like that, it's no good. So I used that as a moment, and I collected myself and I let her know that, the reason why I feel like I'd rather take my business somewhere else is because you set the tone for my experience and I didn't like it. And I feel like, there are a lot of places that I can take my business and spend my hard earned money. And it just wasn't going to be there. And it doesn't mean that I may not try to frequent it at another time, but that day it was not happening. And so I say that to say that, it could have been that she was a little overzealous and wanted me to know that they didn't have any more chicken wings or whatever else she was rattling off. But beyond that, she didn't think like, ma'am, how can I help you? Sometimes it's a smile. I can walk in somewhere and maybe I'm not in the best of mood, but I can look up and see someone and they'll smile at me and I'm like, oh, hey, hi. Or you get hit with not only a smile, but hi, how can I help you? Oh, wow, someone wants to help me. And I'm not in the best of mood, but they took time out of their day to not only acknowledge me, but they want to help me. So let me check myself and come back. And more often than not, I walk away with a wonderful experience and somebody likely that I'm looking forward to seeing again, when I frequent that establishment. And so that was a little turn off, but it had a positive spin because I was able to share my experience as a consumer with her. And whether or not she changed her attitude that day, I'm sure she'll think about it, because I was coming in there ready to spend a lot of money on some oxtails. I'm just going to say that. The other thing I'd like to address that's not so much of a positive nature, I was, well, this was in that same day. It was like 2 days later. I was in Ralph's. And sometimes, and I'm guilty of this at times, I love to smell like freshness and flowers. And there was someone who had come into the store ahead of me that had on quite a bit of cologne. And so, I don't know if you're much like me, but I get a little strangled and I started to cough. Now, mind you, I'm vaccinated. I was probably one of the first, as soon as I was able to, back in February, to get vaccinated. And not that that means anything, because, there's a lot of discussion back and forth about vaccination, not vaccination. That's not the topic for today. But I had a little tickle in my throat. It happens. And so I had a little cough. And of course, I do my vampire or, whatnot. And I always have tissues in my purse. But there was a lady immediately when I coughed, just, and then I was just like, oh, excuse me. And, of course, now I'm a little nervous because, obviously a cough is just not a cough anymore. Neither is a sneeze, as we all know. And so I'm like, now I'm almost about to implode because I'm trying not to cough and tears are streaming down my face. And she was just like, maybe you should just remove yourself. So there were a lot of things that went through my head in that very moment. And I decided, you know what? This is not it. What did I come in here for? Came in here for a new bottle of Tito's, that was kind of a pastime during the pandemic too. And I needed some fresh fruits. So with that being said, I went a different direction, coughed behind some some other groceries or whatnot, vampire cough, got what I needed to do, and I'm checking out. So as I'm checking out, I decided, I was like, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a bottle of water in my car too, because I mean, let's face it, we want to stay hydrated. That's how you keep the skin looking good. So I go, and there was no one behind me. I go to the end cap of the check stand and go to get a bottle of water. This woman comes out of nowhere like a bat out of hell and says, well, you should have done that to begin with. I'm not going to label her anything. Okay. I refuse to. It's not worth it. But I say that to say we know that there is a certain demographic amongst us that loves to police everyone, and they're not the police. And, you know, I was just like, well, you know what? And I had to change it. The lovely thing would have been if you saw someone who was choking, and I'm almost certain it probably was her husband that had all the cologne on that was strangling everybody in the store, then get everybody bottles of water so that we can all stay hydrated, not choke, and go on about our daily lives and not have you in fear of catching COVID or whatever you thought that, I was going to spread amongst the populace. So I say this to say, sometimes it's okay to mind your business. Sometimes a cough is just a cough and a sneeze is just a sneeze. And even though we are all in heightened state because of everything that is going on around us, sometimes it's okay just to be normal. Nothing is promised. Tomorrow is not promised. The next minute that I speak is not promised. But what we do have is an opportunity while we are here on this earth is to make impactful decisions, to make impactful connections, and to have just truly wonderful experiences, even in the midst of, difficult times. And so these are just two little things that happen during the course of the week. But I felt like, sometimes you just got to bring stuff to people's attention that positivity goes so much further. And so even though I'm talking about a negative situation, like if we're positive and you take a moment and just breathe, because I had to breathe because I had a multitude of things that came to mind that I could have shared or said. But and just recognizing that not every person that's in front of you needs to have your attention, and they're not necessarily going to be a captive audience to whatever you would like to retort with. So with that being said, sometimes you just have to breathe deeply, whether it's masked or unmasked, and keep it pushing. There's a lot of discord that's going on. And I think sometimes we get so caught up into those types of things that we forget that, you know what, we're all human. We're all vastly different, well, most of us. And it's important to just celebrate people for their differences, celebrate people, you know, for their opinions and just keep it moving. And if you don't agree with it, just you don't agree with it. Then you have something to share with your friends when you have a new bottle of Tito's when they come over to your house and you're cutting fruit so that you can enjoy and just talk shit about them. So anyway, I say that to say, and sometimes shit talking is good. It helps as a release. But with that being said, at the end of the day, is everything going to be peaches and cream? No. But you have an opportunity to take any kind of situation and put a positive spin on it. Just saying. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. I'm not going to even say week or weekend, a day. Sometimes it's literally one day at a time. And I'm very fortunate. I have people who love and support me and who encourage me to come before you and, talk about things. I love to talk. We all know this, but also share experiences, positive, not so positive. Talk about issues that are plaguing us all in some shape or form or fashion. And also, just to let you know that at the end of the day, we are all human. And, yeah, we're all different in some sort of way, whether how we look, how we sound, what we believe in. But we all add to what this great universe is. And we have limited time here. And so, in that limited time and space that we have, you want to be as impactful as you can, and whatever that looks like for you. And mine is just really having positive experiences, being able to share those experiences with others and engage. That's all I look forward to is the engagement with people and knowing that I'm giving a piece of myself to them, but I'm also taking something back with me. And positivity is passed that same way. It's a give and take. It's a pay it forward. It's a I see you not doing so well today. How you doing? Is there anything I can do for you? How can I help you? We don't have the chicken wings today, but how can I help you? I'm just saying. With that being said, I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you have an experiential filled weekend, because I know I am. And beyond that, I hope that if there's anything that comes up that grants uncertainty or makes you feel some kind of way, that you feel comfortable in your space to take a moment and check in with yourself and say, hey, I need to check in with me. I need to be okay for me so I can be okay for others. And trust me, your girl here has to be reminded of that frequently as well. So, with that being said, have a wonderful experiential filled rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you all here hanging out with me. And I have some new things that are coming down the pipeline, and I'm really excited about it. I'm trying not to bust. My mama always said I couldn't hold water. Well, I'm going to hold this time, but I'm definitely looking forward to sharing more experiences with all of you. Take care of yourself, check in with others, wear your mask if you so feel like it and you're vaccinated. Hey, use your hand sanitizer, wash your hands. Good advice. Some advice we used to get when we were kids. You couldn't come inside or sit down at the table without washing your hands. So continue that. I think that's good. Take good care.